You are good to go.
All right. So welcome. Oh, push the wrong button here. There we go. So WingT Power Spread is our version of the shotgun WingT. So I'm Coach Michael Fields at LeGrand High School. I'm the offensive coordinator. Just finished up my fifth season at the high school. Spent a season at the middle school before that. Helped run youth programs before that. So this is just a little bit about me. I've been coaching football since 2009. Started out at the middle school level back in Indiana, in Indianapolis, where I'm from originally. I've been a head coach, O coordinator, D coordinator, position coach for literally every position on both sides of the football. So currently, I run the offense here in LeGrand, and primarily on offense, I work with our quarterbacks and running backs, and then I also coach our linebackers. By day, though, I'm a faculty member at Eastern Oregon University, and so I teach business and leadership courses and management courses there. Just a little background of our program. Um, we My first few years here, I've lived in LeGrand. This is my ninth year here. Before I got here, the program had just head coach after head coach at our high school. Where we're at, it's a pretty rural area. We're 2.5 hours from Boise, Idaho. Our shortest road game for football is 45 minutes away at our rival in Baker. And there wasn't a lot of success, and the program really didn't have an identity. And so when our he's now our previous head coach, Coach McAmoyle, when he took over in 2018, he had been the head eighth grade coach for, what did he tell me, 15 years, I think, before he came up to the high school. And he literally put his name in because he was tired of seeing this carousel of head coaches. So we installed this system in 2018. I was at the middle school level. I jumped up to help two guys that took his spot there at the eighth grade level. And the team in 2018 was really athletic, very junior heavy, and made it to the quarterfinals. 2019 we were undefeated state champs. 2020 was our spring COVID year here in Oregon, so we went 3-1. Only year we didn't win league. And then in 21 we were in the quarterfinals. 22 we went to the semifinals. So 4 out of the last 5 years, or 4 out of 5 years, the first 5 years of this system, we were pretty dang good. This past season, however, we did slip. We were very sophomore, junior heavy, I guess. We did have some seniors in there. We had like 7 different sophomores starting at some point throughout the season. So we did drop a little bit and had a losing record for the first time in a couple years. Um, Even this season, though, our running backs combined, I think I ended up putting about 8 guys back there at some point throughout the season. We still averaged 5 yards a carry for the season in a losing season. So, but it's a pretty potent offense. So that's why we run with it. So the base of it, uh, we run, it's kind of this wing T look with the wing here, and we use numbers for our 4 backs, including our quarterback. So our quarterback is number 1. Our primary running back is number 2, and then these two guys here are 3 and 4. They're a very versatile player. When we go under center, they're in the backfield, and then the other guy is the wing. When we're in the shotgun, there's a wing and either a wideout off the line of scrimmage, or when we flip to our other formation, he goes over to the slot. Okay, so this is what we call Blue Pro. It's our primary formation. I would say we run this. This season, I mixed it up a little more than we had the last couple years, but I would still say we run this 75% of the time. Okay. Our under center, we just take the color off of the front of the name. So pro and con are how we set our tight end to the strength. Pro is to the right, con is to the left, or I should say how we set our run strength. And then blue tells us we're in the shotgun. Then we use other colors like yellow for another formation that you'll see here in a second. So here's con. So this is under center, and that's why I stick to the name Wing T Power Spread, because we are kind of a traditional under center wing team, but then we go to the gun, and we probably run the gun more than under center. I had a couple games this year we ran under center more because teams were ready for the RPO game that we have in the shotgun. So here's blue con. So again, we put the color in front that tells us we're in the gun, and then it tells us con tells us the side of the tight end. And then you can see our 3 and 4 are always, our 3 is always to the left of the 4. So when we flip the formation, The 3 becomes the wide out off the ball, off the line of scrimmage, and the 4 becomes the wing. And the 2 generally is opposite the Y, and then our X is always opposite the Y. We do have a tag that we can flip our 2 back if we need to, but it's rare that we really do. So then Blue Pro, we are a number system with our backs also of where we're going to run the ball. So we'll run like a 26 dive and then what we call 28 guard G is kind of our bread and butter. We can run. And the reason we use numbers, it just really makes it easier to teach the kids. And then we put the name of the play at the end of it. So then yellow is our other primary shotgun formation. So now you can see still our 4 is to the right, 3 is to the left, X and Y are opposite, and 2 is opposite the Y. And I end up running this formation a little more this year, and we would actually run our number 1 play, which is our version of buck sweep, to this slot back. So he would motion, and then we would hand him the ball, then we would fake it to him and run our trap, which is our number 2 play underneath it. Okay, so here it is, our version, Blue Pro 28 guard G. This is the traditional buck sweep play from the gun, right, for us. And so you can see, and so what this tells us, Blue Pro is our formation, guard G is the play. We don't use the buck sweep, right? 28 guard G, I should say, is the play. I just have buck sweep up there, so guys who are familiar with the WingT offense kind of know where we're pulling this play from. And so 28 just tells us 2 back to the 8 hole. Guard G tells us both guards pull. So we just kind of use language so everybody knows where they're going, what they're doing on every play. I got some clips of it here. So this clip is actually from our 2019 season. This is a really athletic team, and you'll see it here. So you can see, I'll try to pause it. Oh, got to remember how to work my controls here. So you'll see, try one more time here. So you can see both guards are here pulling. We got the tight end down blocking. The wing, he actually doesn't do his job correct on this play. He should be getting up to the backer, and then we should kick this guy out, but the wing actually comes up on this guy. So I'll let it play now. And you can see we did get the kick, and then that running back, he was actually a dude, so he's a pretty good runner there. He was a state championship track guy too, so he had some speed. Then he played 4 years at EOU. So here it is again, just again to see it kind of in action, right? 2 guards come around, escort the back, and he gets upfield. This was the next season. This is our spring year there in COVID. It's against a different front. No, it looks like they're in a 4 front still. I got a 3 front coming up here. So just to see it from a different angle here. 2 guards, kick out, wrap. Probably should have cut it up sooner. Number 11 there, he really liked contact, so he liked to run to contact a lot that year. And then go one more clip, I think. Yeah, so this is actually a JV game from a couple years ago. Same formation, so this will be Blue Pro 28 guard G. And what I like about this clip here is you watch our running back really get on the back of the guard right here, and he literally has his hand on his back. And if you ever hear buck sweep guys or WingT guys talk about follow the guards, this right here is one of the best examples I've got on film of what follow the guards mean. He actually will, you'll see his hand that doesn't have the ball. So I think his right hand has the ball and his left hand is on the guard's back. And you'll literally see him push him to the block he wants and cut off of him here. So I'll just let this one run through. Gets up on 74, boom, throws him into it, and then goes and scores a touchdown. So that's just a great example of how that play works, okay? A few years ago, we were in a special district, and there were about 3 teams that were running the 3-3 stack. And where it gave us fits was at our point of attack between this Sam backer and the tackle. we were playing the Dowls that year. We actually played them regular season, and then we played them in semi-state. Then the next year we played Vale, and they ran this 3-3 stack. But the Dowls would send the backer here and slant the tackle to the B gap, or they would slant to the C and send the backer here. And so we had to just kind of make an adjustment. So what our rule became is our Y, who actually he tells the wing who gets this guy or who gets this guy. Okay. And we have a call for it, and they communicate to each other with a me or a you type of a call. Against this defense, it was a little tricky because if he slants and he steps too far, he's in the hole. If this guy's coming, it's easy for the Y to get up to him. So what we had to do is have our Y almost step parallel to that C gap and then work his way up field if that tackle went inside and pick up the Sam backer. Now, if the Sam scraped over, we didn't want him to arch outside on him. So we just told him to stay on his path and take the middle backer, and then the wing picked him up. So it actually worked out when the tackle would slant inside. It make it easy for our offensive tackle to take him. And so we were kind of okay with that. And this play ended up working really well with them. So this is just one clip of that. This is actually against Vale. So you can see they ran, you can see the 3, but then they had these kind of overhang guys that were right out here. And so what we would do in that case, we wanted to block these two, and him. We don't block the backside end man on the line of scrimmage because that's where the RPOs come into play in this offense. And then the kick out guy becomes this guy right here, this number 7 on the left side here. We'll watch it here. You see, boom, there comes our guard, kicks out. Pretty good gain there. Not bad, right? So guard G, 28 guard G, or our version of buck sweep, is kind of our number 1 play. Our number 2 play that we install is trap. So this would be Blue Pro 22 trap. Nothing fancy. Our center is going to take the nose, whether he's head up or shaded to the weak side. The center has him. If he gets into the play side A gap, we would change it up, right? We would switch it, and the guard would take him, and then the center would go up to that weak side backer. So in our primary way we draw this up, our guard is going to get to the weak backer, tackle to the Mike. Our Y is going to get up to the Sam, and the wing is going to take the D end. And we're probably actually going to read this guy. So our tackle is going to, we call it chip and climb. So he's going to punch, get his in or his outside hand on him, punch with the right hand, being the left tackle, his inside hand, punch with that, and then climb. And he's going to help with this guy. And then it'll allow the guard, one of them, to free up and get up to safety if we break it, right? And then our quarterback, his eyes, and after every handoff, whether it's guard G or trap, is going to run at that end man on the line of scrimmage right there. So that's kind of how we set that up. So here's a clip from a couple years ago. This might be that Vale game again. So just basic guard trap play, pull, kick, get upfield. We had a series this season. I have it queued up in Huddle. I didn't know how much time we'd get. I have it queued up in Huddle to where we ran trap and guard G, and on about 5 plays, I think we gained over 60 yards. Okay. So one more view of trap here. This is against Baker. I always love to show us getting positive yards against Baker. All right. So, and one more view. So this is coming at us. Probably actually should have cut inside instead of outside. The way we run trap, let me go back. The way we run trap, it is designed to get upfield, and then with this wall going this way, he should cut slightly outside and then get vertical right away. So that way he gets away from this safety who's probably going to be coming down at him right here. Oh, there we go. All right. Our number 3 play that we put in is what we call blast. It's a weak side B gap play. We run it several ways. If we're in our shotgun formation in blue or yellow, we're going to run it to our 2-back, and we're going to use a wing in some way to come up and lead through. So the guys we use is what we call our 3 and our 4. They have to be pass catchers, ball carriers, and blockers. So they're always super athletic guys that can just do all three of those jobs pretty well. So in this case, we would call it, we don't have to tag the jet anymore, but I put it up there for guys who have never run this because it just lets you know that this guy has to jet motion. And then what we do is as he passes the center, we time the snap for essentially we're calling for the ball as he passes midline. So that way, and we've actually unfortunately snapped it too soon and hit him while he's in motion, had to dive on the fumble, right? So we have to teach our quarterbacks to really time it to where he's leaving your vision as the ball is snapped. And then what he's going to do is he kind of takes a couple of, choppy steps to break down. Then he gets upfield and it becomes basically an ISO on this backer here. We just wall him in, wall him out, and then he should hit the hole and then get outside on that. If we don't want to motion him, we'll run the quarterback, and then we'll run the quarterback, and the 2-back becomes the lead blocker. Okay, so we can run this a variety of ways here. And then if we're under center, the 2's going to get the ball. And like I said, when we're under center, that wing or that receiver guy, he comes in the backfield as the other back. And now he's the lead blocker, and the 2 gets the ball and heads upfield. And then we would just turn and hand it to him. And the 2, so when we're under center, the 2 goes directly behind the quarterback and is in a 3-point stance. And the 3 or the 4, if we had the formation slipped, they're in a 2-point stance, hands on the knees. One thing that we probably do different as a WingT based team is we don't flip our linemen. We don't have a quick guard, strong tackle, quick tackle. Our right guard is always on the right, left guard on the left. So that's a little different than some of the WingT guys, the traditional WingT guys, I should say. And then the 4th play that is literally, this is our day 1 install, by the way, our guard G to our trap to our blast. And then our last play on day 1 is our boot play. So kind of the traditional waggle or boot out of WingT. We run it a few ways. If we had this odd front, we would maybe not necessarily need to do what we call a wing fill, meaning at the snap, he runs and fills, and the center is going to pull out and kind of just protect the quarterback on the boot. Against this even front, we probably don't need to make that call. We could just cancel the wing fill because he has this guy, and if the center gets out here, there's really nobody to pressure the middle except for this Mike backer. But we're hoping this buck sweep or guard G action in the backfield pulls him to go with our back. Okay. We have another call where we actually motion the outside guy. We call it a Freeney block, where he motions across, and then we snap it when he gets here. Then he turns and sets the edge, and then our wing would run the post over the top instead of the outside guy. And then we actually changed this route. We'll tag our X. Like we'll look at the film and see if they do a lot of one-on-one coverage out here. We'll tag whatever we want him to run. So in this, we draw it as a corner. I think last year we were running more of a post corner with him, and actually it was working pretty good. If it's if it's coverage like this, we might even just put him on a fade and just say get upfield, get vertical. And so what this does is this is the backfield action like our guard G, and then our quarterback just boots. We don't really have him roll the opposite way. We used to actually have him reverse pivot out. Now we just have him, we call it hip to hip. So he's going to ride the running back across his front from his hip to his hip with the ball, and then he's just going to kind of take a bucket or a drop step and then get outside. And we don't want the quarterback to continue booting way outside here. We want him to kind of set up at the edge where this protection is and throw the ball when he's here, because by then our Y should be right here, which is our number one read. So we just call this Blue Pro. Actually, we've dropped the numbers. We don't even put that in there anymore. It's just Blue Pro boot at 9 is what we would call this play. We used to have the 128 in there so that our two back knew he was running guard G, and the 1 was just to tell everyone it's not really a handoff, it's a pass play. But we've dropped that language. We don't even have that in there anymore. There was another thing I was going to talk about on this one. I think that was it. Yeah. Oh, I talked about the Freeney block and the wing fill. And then if it's an odd front and we're pulling him, we have to have that wing fill, is what I was going to say. And then getting into the kind of the next kind of piece of our passing game, and then I'll go back to the run game here in a little bit. We run essentially spread concepts. So this is a flood pass. We call this turn because we call this our turn route, which is just an arrow. So we just have a vertical route on the outside to clear out either the corner or the safety. And then whoever becomes the flat defender between these three, we're putting them in conflict with this quick arrow route. He should end up a yard or two past the line of scrimmage, and he's going to run a true 5 to 6 and out with this vertical route to clear out one of the corner and or safety. Whoever has deep coverage, that deep route is there for that. Then we read it low to high. So we're a low to high read team. So we would read 1, 2, 3. And as most young quarterbacks do, they look here and then they throw the deep ball because everybody wants a touchdown on every play. Although his read he should be the third read on that. And then we use slide protection. And so Ron just means we're stepping to the right, but we always hinge with the backside tackle. And then we can tag our two back. Otherwise, he protects this gap. And then our X, again, is a tagged route. Usually we like backside hitches, backside post, and backside fades are what we run typically. Sometimes we'll put him on a slant, depending on if he's an outside leverage corner, then we'll put him on a slant instead. Next in our pass game here is another flood concept, but now we just flip the vertical route to our Y, and we do have choice routes on this. If it's 1 high, he's going to continue up the seam. If it's 2 high, he's going to split the middle. If it's 1 high, he's going to the corner. And if it's 2 high, he's just going to get flat and run away from the safety. And then the 4 is running. We call this an outside whip. It's our hide route. And so our read here is 1, 2, 3. So it's still kind of that low to high idea, but we're going outside in on that. And then we just run a climb or a drag across with our X. And then here is if we were to tag our two back, if we know they're not going to bring, more than 5 guys, we'll just tell him to bubble and he'll take a step up and make sure there's no blitz. And then he bubbles. And we've actually just told our quarterback, look at the bubble first, because we know teams will follow that X on the drag, and this guy will sit because he sees that drag coming at him, and this guy ends up wide open. We usually end up with him, the safety and the will chasing him, and we get 5 or 6 yards out of it sometimes. A smash concept that we've run out of our 11 tray look here. To get the smash on the weak side, we just run a 5 and across with a post, and then your traditional hitch with a corner over the top on the play side. And typically we're going to read the right. This would be a right to left read. So we look here and then come back and probably find the Y right here. Screen game, we run what we call fire screen, which is kind of a quick screen. Our tackle is actually going to go 1, 2 and release, and then everybody else, so it looks like our slide protection is a 1, 2, 3 and then go. And our two back is going to fly out, take the corner. He's going to fake a slant and then retrace for 3. So he goes 1, 2, 3 out, 1, 2, 3 back, and then gets up behind the tackle, and the 2 are going to get outside, and then everybody else gets upfield and turns in. So it's kind of a down the field funnel. On the backside, we run kind of our turn concept, so it looks like a pass play. And then pre-snap, we tell our quarterback to read over here. If the corner is deep, we may just hit this guy right away because we're going to run basically a screen with our outside guy as well. He's more of what we call a spot pass. So instead of taking 3 steps and then retracing at the snap, he's just going to turn and open up and look at the quarterback and kind of shuffle back one. We call that a spot. So he's going to run a spot screen while he runs a true 3 and retrace over here. And then our other gun formation that we primarily run is what we call yellow pro or yellow con. So now we just bring, I think I showed this slide earlier, but we're going to bring the 4 into the wing and then the 3 comes across to the slot. Every running play is still the same. The way we block is still the same, whether we're in blue, yellow, or under center. What these basically 6 guys, our 5 down linemen and our Y, and typically our wing, their blocking never changes. So we can run the same plays. You know, if you take our 3 base plays, flip it on each side, it's 6, and then put it in 3 formations, you've got 24 plays and you've only had to teach 3 blocking schemes. And that's why we love this offense, because it's so versatile. And then we have tags where we can add different things to it there. And so here in the pass game, this is our version of mesh, right? So we call it shack. So the Y is going to run the drag, and then we call this our shack route because he's just going to shack up wherever there's green grass. If it's green grass right here, he stops. If he has to keep going, he stops. If he has to get to the low hole because the backers are going hook to curl, he's going to settle down in the middle of the field. So depending on the athleticism of this guy, a lot of times he'll break it like it's a post, and then he just turns and he starts to shuffle across the field until he finds an opening and the quarterback hits him. We read it low to high, so it's the Y to the shack route, and then we're just putting vertical routes on the outside to pull safeties up, basically, or to take them deep, I should say. One of our RPOs, what we call guard G peak, and this is a true RPO. We're reading this backer, this will backer. So our quarterback's going to take a shuffle step, and it's guard G up front, right? So our version of buck sweep is being blocked, and our quarterback is looking at this guy. If he comes inside, he's going to pull it and hit him right here. And this is kind of we call it I hate to use the word lazy, but what we do is we tell him he's only running, our 3 here is going to run this at about 75% until he gets the ball. Then it's a sprint up field, and he's probably catching it really out here. What we do is we tell him to run to the heels of the will backer. So he just kind of goes 1, 2, and then on his 3rd, he just kind of makes it, I'd call it like a skinny post or a hard slant. And the quarterback just, some guys will be as brave to say, if he turns his head, throw it. We say, if he moves this direction, pull it and throw it, is how we read this RPO. And if he doesn't, if he sits, we just hand it off and we run guard G because that's our number 1 play. So it's a way to build in RPOs on that backside. We've also run him on a bubble with a slant as an RPO, and he can kind of read it to where if this guy walks out on him, right, because normally he would probably be splitting the difference here, we'll bubble him with a hard slant, and if the safety goes with him, we know that bubble is there. So, you know, we just tag it with an RPO. And again, that's what makes this version of the shotgun wing T. That's why it's the power spread, right? Because we're a running team first. We run the ball about 70% of the time, but we have the RPOs and the spread passing game layered over the top of it. I think this is this should be, no, this isn't peak. What the heck did I put in here? Let me watch it and I'll tell you what we're running here. Unless we did it front side. Oh, this is fire screen. No, it wasn't. Oh, it's our bubble to the tailback. That's what it is. This is what I was talking about. We can bubble our tailback. So we ran it like our fire screen, but we just threw it to the tailback instead. So we call it rip. So we just call it fake fire rip, and then we run it to the tailback. Let's see, what did I put in here? This looks like guard G again. Oh, that was our other RPO, what we call snag. Sorry. I knew I wanted to talk about RPOs, so this is what we call snag. So it's just a slant by the X receiver. So he's just going to look out if it's one-on-one outside leverage. Pre-snap, he knows he's throwing that. But if they were to roll coverage or if that corner were to bite at the last second, he can give it. It looks like here we're probably going a pre-snap read. So it's a pre-snap RPO essentially. So he could have given it. You saw the guards go. He throws it, and then the guy makes a good run with the ball there. I thought I had peak in here. This might be, no, not peak because we got our wing here. Oh, that's our version of that blast play I was talking about to the weak side, but our quarterback's going to run it. So this is Q blast, or what we would call that would be 14 blast for us. So the two back leads, then the quarterback keeps it and runs weak B gap. And that quarterback there, he was probably a running back, but knew how to throw the ball a little bit. So he's a pretty athletic guy. And then I think this might be peak here, that last RPO I had drawn up for you. I saw these clips and I thought I knew what they were. Oh no, that's just our bubble to another version of bubble to our back. So then a couple more plays. I just kind of threw in kind of like some additional stuff. So I gave you our guard G, trap, and blast, which are our top 3 plays. Our boot, then went through the pass game. And now our traditional wing T guys, we'll call it like crisscross, which is our version of counter. Typically it's done as a double handoff, and that's how I have it drawn up here. So this will be a handoff to the 2, who then is going to hand it to the wing, and then the guard and the Y come around and lead block. This past season, we talked about it for about 3 years, and I finally pulled the trigger on it. Now we actually shovel that with our quarterback. So instead of a double handoff, we do a shovel pass. It just reduces the chance of a fumble, less chance of errors, which is what we want, right? So we want less chance of errors. So now we teach the quarterback, he's going to take one shuffle with the 2 back, and then he's going to pull and shovel pass to the 3 coming underneath. So you get this guard G action with the GY, and we just call it GY reverse, and everybody knows what we're running. We don't put a number in it. The backside tackle, right? He's going to hinge and make sure the DN can't follow our Y, because he's going to see the 3 leave, right? And so we've done a couple plays like the boot wing fill looks like that. So again, the reason the wing T is effective is the deception of the under center. You don't know if it's the trap or if it's the buck sweep. We like to do deception by having our guys having that same motion on 2 or 3 or 4 plays that we use regularly. So that's kind of how we run this here. So he's going to hinge and keep him off, and then we're just downing away, and then we leave the D end on the other side open. Guard kicks him, Y pulls up, and now we do a shovel pass. We have experimented. I haven't been brave enough to run it in a game to bubble the 2 back, and then we can run guard G, or I'm sorry, GY reverse, and have that shovel pass and get some yards, and then fake it and throw a bubble pass out here to the 2. I just haven't been brave enough to call it in the game. Haven't trusted my gut yet, but we'll get to that. We run jet sweep out of it. And so now, we've run that, what we call blast jet, where our 4 is going to come and block. Now we're just going to we use a volleyball pass. So he catches the snap and then volleyball passes it right to our 4 back running across. We snap it at the rule is snap it at the A gap, catch it at the A gap. It's become snap at the guard, catch at the guard. It's we spend a day a week where we just run jet sweep, and we line up all of our guys that play this 3 and 4, whether they're JV or varsity, and they start on one side of the field. If we have 2 or 3 or 4 quarterbacks, we put a group with each guy, and we're just snapping to them, and they're getting that timing. So they know the speed of that guy out there, so they can time the snap and that volleyball pass. So I wouldn't call it expensive because it's a 5 to 10 minute period once a week after install. So this is during the season. We'll just in Group O or Indio even we'll just put our backs and receivers together and we'll run this and we'll have our twos come out and lead block. Our blocking rule, we use a flat pull step and they go parallel one guy over and then rip through that guy and get to the second level. We should not need to block anybody from the C gap over because of the speed of this guy. This guy's catching it at full speed, right? So we don't need to block. This is the only guy we have to kind of pay attention to. I had some young and inexperienced tackles this season, so I told him instead of rip across his face and upfield, which is the actual rule, he would lock on and seal him in. That way we didn't have to worry about this guy coming up and blowing up the play because he would rip and then, when he would rip across, he didn't really make contact. So he would whiff and then this guy, this DN would be right here, cause him to bounce. And now it just got blown up. Right now the backers got time to flow and it just didn't work. So I just had this guy, he still used that flat step, but then he would get his inside hand on his chest, outside hand on the shoulder, and he only has to be there for a second, right? And then he would release upfield. So we played with that, and our D-line coach was like, have him lock on, or our O-line coach, sorry. He's like, have him lock on to the D end. I'm like, great. Teach the technique to him. We've worked it a couple times, and it got a lot better this year. See, this is okay. I missed a play. Sorry. So since we run so much guard G, our version of belly, we would run a 26 dive and the two would actually run it up. But what we started to do this year is run guard G and then run 16 or 15 with our quarterback. So he would shuffle and then the two back would continue into that buck sweep look. And then our quarterback would pull it and run up here, but it blocks the same no matter who gets the ball. So again, now we've added a second, third, fourth play with the same blocking. If he was giving it to the two would come up here and we fold our wing inside and then they double here up to the backer and then the wing cleans up anything that's missed, whether it's the will scraping across or a lot of teams because we run so much, we'll walk a safety into the box. The wing gets that guy and then our guard pulls and takes the backer. So it's just wall him in, double team and climb, wall him out, slip or fold through. He's looking inside and then the guard is looking outside. And so then the quarterback would just keep it and run up the hole. If it was 26, he would get the ball and follow him up. But we had success in one game where guard G was working really good. And then we would do Q, it's basically belly, right? Inside run or power. Some guys would call it power. So we'd run Q dive where he would just run up, shuffle with him. And happened to be my son as our sophomore quarterback. And he was in that game. He did a real good job of shuffling and making it look like he was giving it and then just pulling it where he was almost at the hole by the time he pulled it and just getting vertical right away. He broke 1 for 30 against Baker this year. So it was kind of nice to see that. Then some play action off of it. We call this guard G sit. So our wing and our wing and our Y are going to look like they're releasing for their inside path to block. And we're going to pull. So it's an influence block, right? We're pulling it like we're running. And then he's going to go up and ideally I want him to go hit the Mike backer and then almost do like a reverse pivot like you would in basketball. And then he's going to sit really more about right here. He's not really getting outside on that. Now, if it's not there, he's going to continue to shuffle, right? If the ball doesn't come right away. Same thing here with the wing. He's going to hit the D end. So the D end thinks it's a run and then he's going to break off of him. Then we just put him in a vertical route. We usually don't even put the X in anything. And this is a called pass play. It's not an RPO. So it becomes a play action with the influence block of these guys pulling, which what are the backers going to do? 99% of the time when they see pulling guards, they're going to flow that way. So then we can even tell we call it Y hit, where he's just going to hit and sit right here instead, right where that Mike backer vacated. So we got a couple different ways we kind of run play action then off of our run game look. That was everything I had. So here I just got the playbook that's coming out this spring with Coach Stone. We've been training our quarterbacks this year with this player book. My son's been playing with it. I just got it set up for our playbook. It's a really cool tool where it's a game and they get to literally like make a decision if the corner is hard or soft, if the safeties are there. Since I work with quarterbacks, these guys got a hold of me and I put our base playbook in and it's been pretty cool there. And then if you had any questions, get a hold of me. That's all I got.
Like that. You really like that play our QB thing.
I do. It's a little rudimentary right now, but I talked to the guy that's running it, and he said it's like you can load anybody's playbook and you can put it against any defensive front. I played it with our playbook, and it really at least teaches you the mental part of reading. You're not physically doing anything. It's not VR, so you don't have any headaches or anything going on. So I mean, it's on your phone, and you literally just, you answer the question, then you tap the receiver once the ball is snapped, that's open, and it tells you if it was the right read or not. And you can build in there the corner bailed, so he should have hit number one instead of number two, or you can have the corner sit, and he should have hit number two instead of number one. So it's just that mental rep. It's not a physical training, but keeping them mentally sharp is pretty good. So, and I think I've got our turn, post, hide, both directions. I ended up with seven or eight of our pass plays because I'm just getting this started, but I really liked it. So
I'm just gonna end the recording. Thanks, Mike.
sure.